How do you feel about what is happening right now between Russia and Ukraine? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, even though I've been here for like 5 years, it doesn't change in the fact that I do love Ukraine and I consider myself Ukrainian and I'm never willing to give that up. Not in the slightest. So, like I went home every summer for like a couple weeks, but still, and I spent a lot of time at home during COVID. It was hard being in Ukraine for the past couple of years because of everything that was going on. Like the situation has been tense for 8 years. There has been like a war going in eastern regions since 2014. So I was aware of what was going on and I was definitely very concerned, but I like chose not to probably bring it up too often so it doesn't upset me that much. But honestly, that wasn't the best choice because I think that we all need to be political and we all need to have a stand and a clear point of view. When everything happened, because it was escalating for quite some time, like it has been basically building up for a month, and there were certain people who said, oh, like they're, it's just like some sort of trying to press buttons, like they're not gonna do it. And I for some reason knew this was gonna happen, but obviously I had like a lot of hope that it wouldn't, as any sane person would, but I just kind of had this feeling in the back of my head, and obviously like it came true. My friend texted me when like they started bombing Ukraine in the night of the 24th of February, and I mean obviously it doesn't really like you can't expect yourself to react calmly. Like I was very emotional, very upset, and because this happened like basically 2 weeks before nationals, it really did affect my performance. I didn't expect it to affect my performance that much because I like always told myself like, you're so strong, like you can do anything, like it's fine, it's not gonna affect you. But
at some point that affect you?
Not at some point. Like I had 10 days, so the war started on the 24th, and then we left to meet on like 5th, and then we swam until like the 12th. So I would say that like it's only been 2 weeks, and those were like really bad 2 weeks. When you like right now I kind of know what to expect from what's happening. Like I'm prepared to know that my city might be bombed, or just you get prepared for the bad news. Of course they don't get any like better because you're prepared, but still. And then at the time I was just like trying to learn how to navigate that like new situation, and it was really hard because I went to nationals and I just like my head wasn't in the game to the extent that I wanted it to be, because it was like my last meet and I was prepared for it and I was ready to swim really well, and I just didn't like swim great, swim okay, but it's hard. Like it takes a toll on you.
I imagine that. Have you been able to help people or your family there from here? I mean, what kind of help could you give?
So I think that a lot of people who are out of country, especially they haven't been during the war, there's like such thing as survivor's guilt, and like I think a lot of people during the war experience it, some to different extent. But at first it was really hard for me to be here not being at home. Like I really wanted to go home. I even like considered flying back.
So did you want to return to Ukraine?
Yeah, I will definitely come back, and obviously like it wouldn't be very smart for me to do it right now. And it's just kind of like after the emotions kind of calm down, you like start thinking clearly, like I can't be useful there right now because here I have a job, and here I have to finish my education, and here I can be more useful than I will be at home. Even like in the slightest, like the most simple like example, like financial plan, like to get a job at home right now, impossible. To keep my job here and like continue to donate money, I've been doing that a lot. And then just basically like teaching more people about it. Like I've been putting it on my social media. I've been supporting like local projects all aimed at like gathering humanitarian help, or money, or just anything, like trying to be useful in the information field, like sharing, spreading awareness. I've been talking to Queens about some things that they can do to make it better. So it doesn't feel enough. Definitely doesn't feel enough. But that's
it's something.
That's the most.
It's the help that you
do.
can give.
Yeah.
From here. So, how do you think that the refugees situation should be addressed here in the United States?
Well, I heard it yesterday. President Biden kind of announced this program, which is called like Stand United with Ukraine or something, that they're allowing people from Europe to get here, like no visas. But I am pretty confident there is more to that, because when I was going, and I still am going through immigration process, it's very complicated. So I don't expect it to be just get plane ticket and like get on the plane and like come here, no visa, nothing. I don't think that that's how it works. And I think that, I mean, I'm glad that they're doing something. For example, I can even see it because I applied for my green card and I got approved in a month, versus normally this process takes like years.
Yeah.
So I think that they're doing what they can. I don't expect the country to open the borders and like get every refugee, because that's just, even though I understand that the situation in Ukraine is critical, I also understand how, the geopolitics work, and that unfortunately, that's just, you can't move all the people someplace else and like give them everything they want and need. Of course, it's not possible. I think that the refugee situation has actually been handled very well. I am absolutely amazed by what's happening in Poland, like how much they're doing for us right now. It's insane, because my sisters and my mom are in Poland right now, and they both swim.
They had to run away from Ukraine.
Yeah, they both swim, and like their club team has been invited by some city in Poland, and like they brought the entire club team. They gave them the pool, they gave them conditions to practice, live, like have food, and they're in a really good place right now, and I think they will be returning home soon. But I know that every country is taking care of Ukrainians to the best of their ability, and I can be more grateful for that.
How can a refugee family, for example, a father, a mother, and 3 kids, can integrate into a society? What is the main thing to achieve that goal of integration,
If you think about it, of course, it's language. For the most part, it's very hard, I would say, for a lot of people here. Like, I know that, English is obviously required in high schools, and like not even high schools, like every educational institution in Ukraine. I would say that a lot of people in Ukraine speak English, like, even though you don't really expect it, but it's true. I think a lot of people in the West, because in schools we have to take second language. So, for example, I took French, my sister took French. Some kids take Polish because they're so close. So I would say and because our languages are so similar, like it would be probably easier for Ukrainian to flee to Poland and find, like, just understand a Polish person rather than German person. Because, like, for example, my dad works in Germany, and like he says that it was hard to like learn German language when you're 50 years old. I would say that first is language, and those countries are extremely helpful and resourceful to give Ukrainians platforms and opportunities and resources to learn the language. Like, they basically are like doing it for free for them, so it's easier for them to integrate into, obviously, their societies. And the second, I would say that work. And I know that Ukrainian people are extremely...
Or you mean that with opportunities, for example, you are from Ukraine, it doesn't matter, we give you a job.
Well, you know how after what happened in Syria, like a lot of Syrian refugees obviously like fled to Europe and everything. From what I've been reading, there's a big difference between refugees from Middle East and, for example, refugees from Ukraine, because some of those people have been living up like the paychecks that they've been given this whole time. They never chose to go and actually integrate into the society. While like, I know that most of the people from Ukraine that I have known who've fled to Europe are already like working somewhere, because I think it's in our nature, in our nation, that we're just like, we always been working and we don't see that as something bad. We would rather go and work and get the paycheck for that than just like live off the refugee help. So I think that's the second big part, when you're being useful to the country that is, you know, sheltering you. And I think that's something that we have been actually doing really well at. So yeah.
And do you think that it's better foreign family integrate not into the society, into the main culture, or do you think that it's better, you know, do little societies from, for example, what happened in New York, the little Italy, the little China?
Yeah.
I mean, like the little Ukraine in this case, or it's better than that you can integrate into American society?
I don't think that you can actually integrate into the society completely. Like, you can definitely assimilate, but if you were born somewhere else, English is not your first language.
Yeah, you have to go to somewhere with people similar to you to.
Not necessarily. I mean, I have like a very probably like different take than most of the people. I think that if you're coming to a country, yes, to a different country, for example, I come from Ukraine to the US. Yes, you are bringing something authentic, something from, you know, different background. You're being there, you're presenting it to other people, and obviously that's like you're trying to integrate into society, right? And I think that it's very important that you understand that it's necessary, because I think it's very disrespectful when people like come from different countries not even speaking like no English, not even trying to make like American friends, and just like staying with their little group in their little, I don't know, circle,
in their bubble.
In their bubble. Yes, I think that's disrespectful, because there's a country that you came to, and there's a country that is like providing you opportunities for growth, for work, for living. And I think it's important to recognize the culture that you are in, but as well as just keeping like your authenticity and your background close to you. So if it's a family, yes, it's good to have the resources of other people who are from the same countries in the community that you're like. For example, like in Charlotte, there's a big Russian/Ukrainian speaking community, and it's good to have those people. Like, I don't remember, I was like looking for like a lawyer one time to like just get notarized some documents, and I needed them to be sent to Ukraine, and it was just a very complicated person, and I literally like went to Facebook, like typed in like Ukrainian Charlotte, found some people who like have this big Facebook group.
I can help you.
Like I asked for help. I immediately got a response. I met the person, he helped me. It was so easy and simple, because obviously people who are from one country in a different location, they always tend to like help each other and like get closer.
Go with people. Yes, go with people that pass through the same thing that you're passing right now.
Yeah. So that's good, but I also think that you shouldn't rely so heavily on them, and try to actually make connections.
Can you give a message, look into the camera, to the Ukrainian people that now is suffering, that they are in the middle of a war right now? Some wars.
I would say that all of the Ukrainians know what they're made of, and we all know this is temporary. The morning will come and the sun will rise, and I truly believe that the good will prevail over the evil, and we are good, and we're fighting the extreme absolute evil, and even though the times are really hard right now, we will come home.
Vlada, thank you for coming.